All right, it's Thursday, January 30th, 2025, and fireworks erupting on Capitol Hill as three of Trump's most important critical cabinet nominees are being grilled by senators right now. We have the latest, some big changes happening right now, guarantees that certain senators thought they had from Tulsi Gabbard, from Kash Patel, just went out the window. Kash Patel promising to declassify everyone involved and responsible for that island in the Caribbean. RFK Jr. exposing the phony Senate Democrats who are shills, complete and utter shills for Big Pharma. Wait till you see this. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps out the channel. And consider subscribing so you don't miss these regular updates. RFK Jr., he's back on Capitol Hill again, being grilled by the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee this time, being attacked by Democrat after Democrat. Why are they so scared of RFK Jr.? Why are they going after him so hard? Because these senators do the bidding of Big Pharma. We played one of the worst examples of this yesterday, Senator Elizabeth Warren, who is a shill, a complete and utter shill for Big Pharma, trying to get RFK Jr. to commit to not suing pharmaceutical companies in the future. What a freaking disgrace that was. Well, today, it got even better. The largest beneficiary of Big Pharma, out of all the Dems and Republicans sitting on that committee, is guess who? Bernie freaking Sanders, receiving $1.5 million in campaign contributions from these big pharmaceutical companies. A complete phony. Watch RFK Jr. call him out for this. Watch as the crowd breaks out in applause. The people, the American people, are sick and tired of the corruption. This is great. Let's watch.
I'm going to make America healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? That's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, no,
and protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would come. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money
from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate
Bernie,
PACs.
You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in the industry.
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but you have not answered. Last question.
Fireworks also erupting across the hall as Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel are being grilled by the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. These three cabinet nominees are critical to Trump's success over the next 4 years, and it's why what's happening right now is what we all knew was going to happen, right? They're trying to kill their nominations. If you want to see transparency, real government transparency, then we need both Kash Patel as FBI director confirmed. We need Tulsi Gabbard as DNI confirmed and RFK Jr. confirmed as well. Everything that Trump orders declassified and disclosed, realize it goes in front of a small group of gatekeepers first on the National Security Council before any Americans get to see it. Most importantly, the DNI has huge sway over what the American people actually get to see. The Chief Intelligence Officer of the United States, that being who? Tulsi Gabbard. So if you were wondering why senators are trying so hard to tank her nomination, just listen, really listen to her opening statement. Watch this.
I'm honored and grateful to President Trump for his trust and confidence in nominating me to serve our country as the Director of National Intelligence at a time when trust in the intelligence community, unfortunately, is at an all-time low. Chuck Schumer admitted a few years ago, quote, "You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you." For too long, faulty, inadequate, or weaponized intelligence have led to costly failures and the undermining of our national security and God-given freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. The most obvious example of One of these failures is our invasion of Iraq based upon a total fabrication or complete failure of intelligence. This disastrous decision led to the deaths of tens of thousands of American soldiers, millions of people in the Middle East, mass migration, destabilization, and undermining of the security and stability of our European allies, the rise of ISIS, strengthening of al-Qaeda and other Islamist jihadist groups, and strengthening Iran. Here are just a few other examples. The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once but twice, and yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. Title I of FISA was used illegally to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, using a Clinton campaign-funded false dossier as their so-called evidence. Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation specifically to help Biden win the election. Former DNI James Clapper lied to this committee in 2013, denying the existence of programs that facilitated the mass collection of millions of Americans' phone and internet records, yet was never held accountable. Under John Brennan's leadership, the CIA abused its power to spy on Congress, to dodge oversight, lied about doing it until he was caught, and yet has never been held responsible. Under Biden, the FBI abused its power for political reasons to try to surveil Catholics who attend traditional Latin Mass, labeling them as quote-unquote radical traditionalist Catholics. Personally, just 24 hours after I criticized Kamala Harris and her nomination, I was placed on a secret domestic terror watch list called Quiet Skies. Sadly, there are more examples. The bottom line is this must end.
Right now, we know of 6 Republican senators who haven't committed to a yes vote yet, saying publicly that they have concerns over Tulsi. It's highly unlikely she's going to get any Dem votes, even though she was a Dem just a few years ago. She was running for president as a Democrat. One of the conditions she was given to secure those senator votes was to do 2 things. First, to disavow Edward Snowden, and second, to publicly support FISA Section 702. That's the section of FISA that allows warrantless surveillance on American citizens. Clearly and blatantly unconstitutional. Think about that. In order for her to get these 6 Republicans to vote yes, they want her not to oppose it. It's insane. Well, we've been hearing for the past week that Tulsi was supposed to play ball. Well, both of these moments just came. Here's how she answered with regard to Edward Snowden. Watch this first.
Would you support or recommend a pardon or any kind of clemency for Edward Snowden?
Thank you for the question, Senator Collins. If confirmed as the Director of National Intelligence, my responsibility would be to ensure the security of our nation's secrets and would not take actions to advocate for any actions related to Snowden.
So the answer is no. Is
Correct.
that correct?
And there's people on social media that will try to make a big deal out of this, that she flipped her position. She didn't. She needs to be confirmed, folks. And I know that Tulsi believes Edward Snowden is an American hero. I got a lot of love for Tulsi Gabbard. This is how the game's played, though. And here's where it gets interesting, very interesting. With regard to FISA, I was shocked she didn't play ball. I was under the impression she was going to. She didn't. Watch this.
Attention to the egregious civil liberties violations that were occurring at that time.
Ms. Gabbard,
Ms.
Gabbard, I ask you a question. Please give me the courtesy of responding. You said the reforms now make you support it. What can you cite? Which reforms?
There are a number of reforms to include getting rid
in the new law,
that,
right?
that all of you and your wisdom.
Ms. Gabbard, my time is getting short, but I got to just tell you, after the reforms were passed into law in April of 24.
The other Trump nominee that we've been watching and following today is Kash Patel, incoming FBI director, hopefully being grilled by Senate Dems. Personally, I believe Kash Patel's position as FBI director is hands down one of, if not the most important position of all of them. The FBI It's the enforcement arm of the DOJ. The DOJ has become grossly politicized, as we all know. Everything that was brought against Donald Trump over the last 8 years came at the direction of the DOJ, carried out and executed by the FBI. Everything we saw that we've been fighting against collapses without the FBI. They are the body that does the law enforcement work for the federal government. They're federal police. They are the muscle that carries out the political action of the DOJ. It's why it's so important, critical that Kash is confirmed as FBI director, because he not only understands this, but he's fearless, he's loyal, and he has a plan. Here he was a few months ago on the Sean Ryan podcast explaining what he'd do once confirmed. Watch this, then we'll show you what's happening in the Senate hearing today. It ties together. Watch this, heartedly support Kash's nomination on this channel. He's no Christopher Wray, all right? He will bring a wrecking ball to that agency, dig out the rot that's infested it since the J. Edgar Hoover days. Watch him make a bumbling fool out of Senator Klobuchar on this issue. Watch.
Did you say that the FBI headquarters should be shut down and reopened as a museum of the deep state?
Mr. Chairman, are we allowed to go an extra time?
Let's see, you get a second round. Before I call on Senator Lee.
Could he just answer the question if he said that the FBI headquarters, where they investigate cybercrime and terrorism, should be shut down and opened as a deep state?
Hey, Mr. Chair.
As a museum. Did he say that the headquarters should be shut down?
Mr. Chair.
I deserve an answer to that question. He is asking to be head of the FBI, and he said that their headquarters should be shut down.
Mr. Chair, parliamentary inquiry.
You got anything you want to say, Mr. Patel, before I go on to Senator Lee?
Simply this. If the best attacks on me are going to be false accusations and grotesque mischaracterizations, the only thing this body is doing is defeating the credibility of the men and women at the FBI. I stood with them here in this country. In every theater of war we have, I was on the ground in service of this nation. And any accusations leveled against me that I would somehow put political bias before the Constitution are grotesquely unfair. And I will have you reminded that I have been endorsed by over 300,000 law enforcement officers to become the next director of the FBI. Let's ask them.
Mr. Chairman, I am quoting his own words from September of 2024. It is his own words. It is not some conspiracy. It is what Mr. Patel actually said himself. Facts matter.
You forget that you had 3 minutes in the next round to say what you just said.
Okay, I'll say them again.
Okay. Before I call Lee.
Mr. Chair, just parliamentary inquiry.
If we want to see the truth about what happened on J6, about the origins of the pandemic, about what really happened on that island in the Caribbean, who is involved with these trafficking networks, who's still involved, how high it goes, the real rot that the leaders of these agencies have been covering up for decades, we need Kash confirmed. Watch him here.
Their questions, and it has led me to one thing. Why are the Democrats so afraid of you?
I don't know, Senator. You'd have to ask them.
Well, I tell you what I think. And listening to their questions and your responses, which we appreciate, they know that you're going to go in and you're going to clean up that political cabal that has been over there for years. You are going to reposition the FBI to its core mission. You stated that earlier in this hearing, and there will be no more political persecutions and no more 2 tiers of justice. And they have liked having 2 tiers of justice. They have enjoyed it, and it has helped them. They think in their political mission, they've enjoyed targeting Catholics. They've enjoyed targeting parents. But the American people have said they want no more of that. And our colleagues know you're going to clean it up. I want to talk to you about the Epstein case. I have worked on this for years, trying to get those records of who flew on Epstein's plane and who helped him build this international human trafficking, sex trafficking ring. Now, earlier I urged then Chairman Durbin to subpoena those records. And I ended up being blocked by Senator Durbin and Christopher Wray. They stonewalled on this. And I know that breaking up these trafficking rings is important to President Trump. So will you work with me on this issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings?
Absolutely, Senator. Child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past.
Now, what happens next is the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence will be holding a vote to see if Tulsi and Kash have enough support in committee to bring their confirmations to a full Senate vote, which may happen tomorrow. We're going to keep you posted as we learn more. That wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.